Hi, everyone. My name is Matteo Fabiano. I am the Chief Marketing Officer at Moviri. And today I'm going to go over a presentation that we first showcased to our customers last September 2025 at the Moviri Customer Connect Day. The topic of this presentation has to do with how AI, especially conversational AI interfaces and LLMs, are changing the way companies interact and connect and work with their customers. And more specifically, we're going to look at a few things. The first one is how Agentic AI has the potential to truly change the customer experience. And in order to do that, the easiest way is to start from a relatable example. So in this slide, we're going to show a little bit of what a situation might be when something happens that disrupts travel plans. So let's imagine you are heading to your airport for a flight, and you get a notification on your airline app that the flight has been canceled. Now, when that happens, you start scrambling. Yeah. First of all, you have to find a new flight. You open the app from your airline, and if you're lucky, you find a new flight. But then there's a cascading effect of rebookings. For example, you have to change your hotel booking, and then of course go to your email, to your calendar, notify your teams, notify customers, cancel meetings or reschedule meetings. Again, potentially have to book a car because now the meeting cannot be at the office but has to be off-site, and so on and so forth. And so in a typical situation like this, you have a triggering event that creates a cascading effect of situations that our customers have to deal with on their own. Now, let's have a look at the same problem of a flight cancellation, but with a radically different customer experience enabled by conversational agentic AI. So let's imagine you receive your flight cancellation notice, but then instead of going to all of your tools and all of your apps, what you have is a single conversational interface. It could be your company's interface or the airline interface. And in that interface, you have the customer experience agent. And this customer experience agent, in fact, is orchestrating other agents, booking agents, calendar agents, email agents, and through a series of digital tools and skills, is capable of orchestrating the activity of all of these agents and to perform effectively the same tasks that you were expected to perform as a customer. Now, these agents, these customer experience agents, they use the same tools and services as before. They use the same APIs, the same software and databases, but now they access them in a coordinated and automatic fashion. And so now the critical difference is that while in the traditional customer experience is the customer that has to do the coordination of different disconnected systems, now it's an AI-powered agent that can do that. This is not science fiction. All the components exist already. The difference is in the orchestration. And so what is happening now is that we are entering into a new type of paradigm where in the past, for years, AI has been treated as an answer engine, purely informational, based on a chatbot that knew things but couldn't do things, to action engines, which are powered by the same technology, but now with data, memory, tools, and guardrails are capable of performing actions on our behalf. Agentic AI and agentic customer experience requires a brand new design architecture. So let's have a look at what's behind the slick conversational interface. First of all, an agent, a customer experience agent, need access to data, and very broadly defined in terms of CRM data so that they can know what the history of the customer relations is, ERP for orders and inventory, CXM for touch points and feedback, and of course document management for any policies or FAQs that are relevant to each customer support case, for example, and so forth. Second, it needs to have tools. The tools are those functions that enable the agents to perform tasks. We have, for example, specific tooling and skills for info retrieval, for computation, calling APIs or MCP connections, database access, and so forth. Third, we have memory. Memory is sort of the brain of the agent. It includes short-term memory to grasp the context of what is the specific case or specific ticket that the customer support agent is working on. Long-term to know what the customer relations and interactions with the company have been in the past, and more specific types of memory that are specific to structural knowledge about procedures and policies. Without memory, every interaction starts from zero. And so with the memory, the agent becomes much more capable of delivering a personalized experience to the user and the customer. Finally, there are guardrails, and obviously they have to do with policy and regulatory compliance, data exfiltration, security, prompt injection, and other risks that a customer experience agent has to deal with. Fourth point, guardrails. Guardrails include not only regulatory and compliance constraints, but also alignment with brand consistency, validation for specific criteria, and appropriateness in terms of internal company policies. It's a security system, a safety system that prevents the AI from saying the wrong thing at the right time, at the wrong time, or to the wrong person. Now, wrapping all of this and enabling all of this is context engineering, which is a fundamental element. It is effectively the way in which, through the management of context and prompt chains for complex workflows, tuning instructions and search and knowledge retrieval, the system achieves the results that the agent is tasked with, the outcomes that the agent is tasked with the appropriate level of resource consumption and computational loads. I want to talk a little bit about voice conversational AI, because I think it's one of the areas in which we're seeing the fastest developments and most important breakthroughs. Andreessen Horowitz just recently published a report in 2025 on voice agents, and the numbers are truly impressive and confirm what we're seeing in the field. The first insight, the important insight, is that it's just other performance breakthroughs and how the economic barrier to wide-scale, large-scale implementation of conversational AI are falling. All the major providers have dramatically reduced their cost, and so we're not talking anymore about expensive experiments, but of truly economically viable deployments. The second insight is that experiment after experiment is showing how voice agents in many circumstances can best human agents in terms of emotional intelligence. They're more empathic, they display more patience, they have unlimited attention. And so this is counterintuitive, but in the world of customer support especially, it comes up again and again and again in research after research. The third insight is that market demand for voice AI solutions is exploding. They concentrate in B2B, especially in healthcare, banking, insurance, and it's no surprise. Those are markets where the impact of voice AI can be very important, because we're talking about industries where you have a high volume of customer support calls, standardizable processes, and measurable ROI. And so the conclusion is that the infrastructure is ready. The AIs are ready and the market is ready for full-scale adoption of voice conversational AI in customer service and in customer experience. I want to share an example of voice conversational AI applied to avatars. And I think this is something that on the surface might look gimmicky, but in fact, I think is quite important if we think that this might be, in fact, a preview of the future, a future in which each customer has a dedicated customer agent that knows all their history and the past interaction they had with the brand, and this agent is available 24/7 to them. Here's a recording, it's just a minute long. Let's listen to it.
Hello, I'm your Anim AI representative, brought to life by the very digital human technology we're pioneering. How can I help you explore the possibilities of face-to-face AI today?
Hi, Anam. My name is Matteo Fabiano. Can you do customer support?
Hi, Matteo. It's great to meet you. Yes, Anim's avatars are designed for customer support across many industries. As you can see from our conversation, we can answer questions, guide users, and deliver consistent, friendly service 24/7. This helps businesses boost satisfaction while reducing costs and response times. Would you like to hear about specific ways we've helped companies with customer support?
What do you do when a customer is upset or angry?
That's a really important question. Anim's avatars use emotion recognition to sense when a customer might be upset through their words, tone, or even facial cues if video is enabled. We adjust our responses, showing empathy and patience, just like a well-trained human agent would. This helps de-escalate situations and resolve issues more smoothly, ultimately protecting your brand's reputation.
All right, next, I would like to talk a little bit about measuring customer experience with AI. And today I want to show you how 92% of the conversation that customers have are effectively invisible to customer satisfaction survey, traditional customer satisfaction surveys, and how AI is changing also the measurement space. In traditional customer satisfaction surveys, you have a coverage that approximates 48%. This is data from Intercom. Why is that? Because only 1 in 5 customers actually responds to survey, and the survey initiated, they cover 39%, about 40% of all cases. In addition to that, the people who answer customer satisfaction surveys, they tend to be people that have positive experiences more so than people that have bad experiences. And so you have a response bias built into the customer satisfaction survey. On the other end, with AI-driven customer experience scoring, you get virtual 100% coverage of all conversation and interactions happening between a brand and a customer. And so companies can have a much clearer picture of where they stand in terms of customer satisfaction. In this third and final part of the presentation, I want to also share why agentic conversational customer experience requires a new UI paradigm as well. Now look at this image. This is a toolbar in Microsoft Excel. How many of these buttons do you actually use? Maybe 5% of them, 10% of them. Nonetheless, they're always available, right? This is the 1,000 buttons problem, and it's a fundamental failure of traditional interfaces. The problem is not Excel, it's the entire paradigm. Developers are forced to imagine every possible usage scenario and build it into their interfaces. And so what happens is that the end result is that these UIs are overloaded with functions that 90% of users find completely irrelevant. So the problem is that these interfaces are context independent. They're always the same regardless of what you're doing. Everything is fixed, deterministic, one size fits all. The onus is on the developer that has to codify every single interaction, anticipate every possible workflow, design for every type of user. But with UI and agentic UI, we can solve this problem. Instead of 1,000 buttons always present, with AI, we can literally generate the 3 or 5 functions that are needed in that specific context, in that specific moment. Now, unfortunately, we're going to have to go through stages of development in this space. How are we actually using AI to improve user interfaces? Right now, we are in a bit of a phase that, according to the metaphor and concept that Pete Kuhlman used, Pete Kuhlman and Y Combinator used, which I like very much, we are effectively replacing horses with steam engines, but not tackling in any way the architecture of the carriage, not changing in any way the architecture of the carriage. Pete makes the example of Gmail, is that effectively what we are simply doing is adding a little bar at the bottom that can rewrite the email for me. But the fundamental problem is that we are unable to customize or personalize the system prompt. And so it's a very limited use of AI, and it's a very primitive use of AI in the context of an application like email that we use every day. So we're still in a phase where we are effectively applying old paradigm to new technologies, but things are evolving very fast, and we're moving towards programmable, adaptive, contextual UIs. And when we talk about agents, we have to look at a few paradigms that are going to be prevalent in this world. The first one is the infinite canvas. Think about Figma or Miro. It's an infinite surface where you can position elements everywhere. Because agents do not work in a linear fashion, but they have to manage multiple conversations and call tools and maybe follow sub process that are parallel. The infinite canvas provides a very good paradigm for building and designing agents. The second UI paradigm that is emerging very strongly in this new type of interfaces is the ephemeral GenUI, which means interfaces that are generated on the fly by AI. So we're not talking about pre-constructed, pre-built templates, but of buttons and forms and tags and actions that are created specifically for that conversation, for that interaction in that moment. And this changes completely 30 years of UI design, right? Traditionally, every button, every menu has been designed to have a specific function. But in this new paradigm, it's like having a designer that works at the speed of light and creates personalized UIs every time you're interacting with the application itself. The third paradigm is the so-called agent in a cell, which is basically a mini modal interface that bring toolings and instructions in a specific context. So imagine an Excel cell that suddenly becomes a mini environment where different agents and different AI interfaces collide. So imagine you are in an email, you can click on a date, and for example, a mini interface with a calendar and scheduling AI and all of the coordination tools appear. Now, these three paradigms are not just new interfaces, they are new ways in which the AI is redefining the relationship between users and computers, but also between developers and applications. We are at an inflection point, not an evolution. And it's clear that agents are becoming capable of managing very complex workflows. At the same time, agentic AI components, key components, unique compute costs, voice APIs, LLMs are all maturing and streamlining in a way that makes it possible to build these solutions at an industrial scale. Third, and maybe most important, customer expectations are shifting permanently. The experience of working with 6 different apps and spending 2 hours to sort out a canceled flight is soon going to be unacceptable for most customers. Thank you. See you soon.